It's live. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, guys. It's still morning here in Phoenix, so I'm just claiming that it's morning for everywhere, even though we both know that's not how that works. I wanted to pop on real quick today. I just got off of doing a live with my friend Miko about morning and anxiety and all the things. I wanted to pop on here and share something that popped into my brain after I got off the live with him because I didn't have a chance to share it. Two things actually. One, if you are working on releasing anxiety, the thing that most people forget that they don't do when they're working through releasing their anxiety is making a plan for the future. So a lot of times we talk about your attachment style, we talk about how anxiety has shown up, we talk about the role that it's played in your relationships, the role that it's played in your finances, your time, your health, your money, all those kind of things. We talk about all of that. But a lot of times when people are healing their anxiety, they don't create a plan going forward. So what that looks like is they get feeling good in the moment, they feel better, and then they move into their life and they have a conflict at work, or they have a fight with their spouse, or they have to have a tough conversation with their kids, and they have no idea how to manage their anxiety in the future. A lot of times when people are releasing anxiety, they only focus on the past. They only focus on how it's shown up in the past and how it has been sparked and the initial events that have maybe brought it up. But they don't process or release the future and how the rest of their life can be transformed by the way that they release their anxiety. So I always talk about this with clients going forward. We create a pressure cooker protocol. So I talk about this with my clients all the time. A lot of times when you are anxious or overwhelmed or pressured or stressed, you will end up blowing up at the people that you love and the people that you're closest to. So your spouse, your kids, your co-parents, your boss, your coworkers, whatever that looks like. You'll end up pressure cooker exploding. For those of y'all that have an Instant Pot and you know what it feels like when you release all the pressure and the steam goes everywhere. This is what happens when you have been stuffing your anxiety and your pressure and your panic and your overwhelm over and over and over and over and over and over. And then finally you end up blowing up at people that you love, whoever's closest. It could be your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your kids, your neighbor, your boss, your property manager, whoever. You end up causing relationship harm because you've exploded at people. So what I love to do is create a pressure cooker protocol with each one of my clients. I work with them one-on-one to be able to have a plan going forward after we finish working together of how the heck to manage their anxiety when stuff shows up, because it's going to show up. You're going to have money conversations and parenting conversations and big decisions to make and big life things that unfold and happen for you. It's kind of important to pay attention to. So when you are releasing anxiety, make sure you have a plan for going forward. Don't just talk about how it's shown up. Don't talk about how it's affected your relationships only. Talk about what you're going to do when it shows up going forward, okay? That's the first thing. Second thing is I'm going to talk to all you overfunctioners for a hot minute as one, okay? I talked about this on this Instagram live that I just did. If you are overfunctioning, what does that mean? It means that in the space of anxiety or panic or pressure or overwhelm, it means that you will overfunction. You hyper organize, you hyper systematize, you hyper routine. You think that you can compensate for feeling anxious by creating more systems or more structure or more routine or having a plan that if everybody would just follow it, it would be fine. I say this speaking as an overfunctioner, okay? So I have love in my heart for you. Katie, I'm glad that you love it. I have love in my heart for you if you are a fellow overfunctioner, okay? I used to be the person who would plan every meal for everyone all the time. I would have cleaning stuff and systems and binders and books and all the things, you guys. It was crazy because I wasn't willing to dive deep and feel what actually needed to be felt. So, if you are an overfunctioner and if you are using this time to just force yourself to learn something new, even though it feels like death, or you're forcing yourself to be productive, that's been a thing around the internet. If you're forcing, and it doesn't feel good, you're probably overfunctioning because you're afraid to feel grief, you're afraid to feel mourning, you're afraid to feel anger, you're afraid to feel sadness. There's a good chance that if you're an overfunctioner, you don't know how far your emotional spiral will go. So you're afraid that if you feel a little bit of sadness or a little bit of grief, or if I actually pause and acknowledge what I'm feeling, I don't know when it's going to stop. I don't know if I could handle it, right? That's why there's coaches and therapists and pastors and incredible mental health professionals that are able and ready and willing to help you. If that's you, I would love for you to just sit on the couch for like a half a day. Just sit and be present. I don't mean sit and watch Netflix. I mean sit and be present. So 2 power questions for you. Number 1, what are you feeling? Number 2, what do you need? If you're feeling grief and you need to get up and move, I would do that. If you're feeling anger and you need to apologize, do that. Maybe you need reconciliation. Maybe you need connection. Maybe you need forgiveness. If you're feeling frustrated AF because you're stuck at home with your kids and they're driving you nuts, maybe what you need is to just sit and frickin' not do anything. Maybe you just need to sit in a room, in a quiet air-conditioned room by yourself for 5 minutes or 15 minutes or an hour. Just sit and be present. That's the antidote to overfunctioning. Don't do anything. Okay, so I say this in love. I say this as an overfunctioner. I say this because I used to be one of y'all. And this is something that people miss when they release anxiety. They compensate. They will release and then they compensate by shoving their lives full of structure and routine, which, don't get me wrong, that's great. But when you're doing it to not notice, when you're over-structuring and you're functioning in a way where you are bypassing your feelings and paying attention to what's actually alive inside you, that's not healthy, and I'm not going to co-sign that. So if you're that kind of person, or if you're having trouble with this, pop into my DMs. I'm happy to walk through this with you. But don't skip this. If you're releasing anxiety, don't skip noticing if you're an overfunctioner. Don't release your anxiety and just pump yourself full of checklists and routines and spreadsheets and formulas, and it has to make sense and it has to work. That's you trying to get control back, and you're not going to do it, because if there's anything that Corona has hopefully taught you, it's that you don't have control over a lot. So the more you try to stuff yourself into these rigid forms of security, of faux security, you're just going to end up exacerbating the problem. You're going to end up frustrated. You're going to end up on the phone with me sobbing, like a lot of my clients, because you are at your wit's end and you don't know what the F to do to fix it. I don't want that for you. So if you're releasing anxiety, just take a second, pause, put away the spreadsheets, put away the organizing, put away the massive productivity, put away all the things, your to-do list, all the shit that you think you have to get done. Put it away for a hot minute, sit down and be present. Ask yourself 2 questions. What am I feeling? What do I need? What am I feeling? What do I need? What am I feeling? What do I need? The more that you can get in tune with what you're feeling and what you need, you'll be able to stop your cycle of overfunctioning. You'll be able to stop your cycle of being afraid of feeling emotion. You'll actually learn that you're pretty resilient. And then you can build what we talked about at the beginning, your custom pressure cooker protocol, so that you don't have those moments when you've been stuffing your panic and pressure and overwhelm and anxiety and all the things. And then you end up exploding all over the people that you love. You end up shouting and cursing and screaming and doing relationship damage that's really hard to get back, because you haven't taken time and space to notice what you're feeling and what you need. I would hate for you to come out of Corona damaging the relationships that you are holding close to right now. Don't come out of Corona feeling more alone than you do right now because you're unwilling to process your emotions, because you're overfunctioning. Don't come out of Corona feeling more alone than you do when you are literally stuck inside your house. You guys, don't do that. Take a second, notice what you're feeling, notice what you need, and have the ovaries to give it to yourself. That's the only way you're going to make it through this without damaging yourself or your relationships. Real talk. This is the thing that people miss when they release anxiety. If this is helpful, or if you want more information, or if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you think I'm crazy, that's cool too. Pop into my DMs. Let's get on the phone for a half an hour call. I'd love to walk you through your pressure cooker protocol. Let's get a plan in place so that you don't blow up at the people that you love, because nobody wants that. I don't want that for you. I know that you don't want that, and I sure as hell know the people in your life don't want that. They're tired of you blowing up at them because you're over functioning. They're tired of you blowing up at them because you haven't taken time to actually give yourself what you need. Let's not do that anymore. It's 2020. We have a giant reset from Corona. We have a giant reset in time and space right now. Let's get really powerful with ourselves. Let's call in what we want, call in what we need, take really good care of ourselves so that we can show up for ourselves and for the people that we love. You don't get to be who you want to be for yourself if you're not showing up and managing your anxiety, releasing your panic and pressure and overwhelm, not all over other people. So, I love you. Thanks for popping on and spending Wednesday morning with me. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Also, don't forget, I am teaching an online workshop this weekend, Releasing Anxiety. It's only $15, you guys. I did this because I never really release 1 hour workshops anymore, but I wanted everybody to be able to join if they want. So it's a 1 hour workshop, 9 o'clock Pacific, this Saturday, April 11th at 9 a.m. It's $15. If you guys want in, send me a DM and I'll send you the link. It's a Zoom workshop. It's recorded, so you have to register to get the recording. Otherwise, I can't send it to you. There's a little intake about how anxiety shows up, a couple of questions I ask you to make sure I'm serving you well in our workshop. And then it's $15. It's super easy. If you want in, let me know. Just send me a DM. Tell me that you want in the anxiety workshop and I'll send you the link. Bye, guys.